So it's been about a year or so since I started actively putting out photography prints for sale, and I wanted to share a few of the things I've learned in regards to just selling art that I think were a lot of hangups for me in the past. And I think this is important to get over, especially if you are a smaller independent artist trying to make your way in this world and trying to make some money or something to keep yourself afloat. For a long time, I used to have different preconceptions on the notions of selling my work and selling art. Part of me used to be a little bit altruistic about the idea of selling my work and thinking that I couldn't sell my work, or thinking that it would be wrong to sell my art because then it's like, then I'm just using it to make money and all that stuff. And I would get a lot of hangups about that as well. But after realizing and selling a bunch of prints, I started changing a little bit of my belief system in regards to those things. So I wanted to share those with you guys if you're thinking about selling your work. First point I want to make is that it's not disingenuous. I think this is a concept that is difficult for a lot of artists, especially when we create, is because when we make art, a lot of the times we make it for ourselves and what we want to make and the vision that we have, not necessarily to make money. And so the idea of selling art and selling our hard work for, I don't know, pennies or like 50 bucks here and there seems like disingenuous, and it seems like a punch to the gut or something like that. Like, ah. And that's because it's difficult to productize your art because it means a lot to you and it's special to you and all that stuff, that when you sell it, it feels as if it's disingenuous to what you have just created. But I've noticed over time that this is kind of a little bit of a false belief that I've had. Money inherently isn't necessarily impure, and it's not just because you sell your art for money doesn't mean you're ruining the nature of your art, or you're changing it this or that way, or you're making it bad because you sold something. First of all, the idea or concept or notion that we can't make money from our art or else it's disingenuous towards this altruistic notion of creating art just for the sake of creating is just silly in my opinion, because it assumes that one, money is bad, and two, it assumes that we can't profit off of our hard work, which are two, in my opinion, wrong things. Because as an artist, you gotta survive somehow to make more art. If it means selling your work for money to pay for the roof above your head or food that you can eat such that you can survive and make more money, then there's nothing wrong with that, you know? But I think for a lot of artists, we want our art to come from a place of pure intentions, and we want it to be for the sake of it, or at least I did in my past, and I thought it had to be in such a way. And I want to break that notion. Just because money is involved doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And you can also create what you want to create and sell it as well without changing or fixating the type of art you make for an extra buck. Second point or topic I want to touch on is that selling your art will not devalue your art. And I think this is a bit of a myth, whether you're a photographer or a digital artist or whatever, is that it feels as if when we put a price tag on our art, that's how much it's worth. You know what I mean? So if I sell a print for $50, then that's all it's worth. Or if I sell a print for $100, then that's all it's worth. And this can be a good or bad thing, because the lower price is for our art, the worse we feel, and the higher the price, the better we feel, you know what I mean? Because then it's like, wow, I made something that's worth X amount of dollars versus something else. But something I want to express right now is that the price tag that someone buys your art for is irrespective of how much the art is actually worth. Because if you created for the sake of creating and it was for yourself and you had no other interest in that, then however much someone buys or is willing to pay for it, it's completely different, in a different spectrum than the pricelessness of what you just made. They're not intertwined. And so this comes from a kind of more of a business mind, when you understand that when you are selling your art as a product, it's a product and the customer doesn't view it as personally as you do. So for you, you might think of it as kind of like your baby, because you put like your time, effort, heart and soul or whatever into making whatever you made. But for another consumer, they might just see your print as just something nice to put on their wall or something that complements this, and that's what it is for them, and they're willing to pay this price for it, you know what I mean? And so when you understand another person's point of view or perspective on your customer, whoever is purchasing or buying your art, you understand that, okay, for them it's just this, even though for me it's this. If I separate my feelings from what they're feeling, then I'll be so much more fine with letting things go in that aspect. And so if you're able to do that, then you're able to understand that the price point is just a price point, not how much your art is worth. You created it and you would have done it for free anyways. So the fact that someone's willing to pay $50, $20, $100 for it might be even a compliment in itself. And it might even be more of a value for you to think of it in the sense that, wow, someone wants to buy my piece and put it on their art such that all of their guests and everyone who enters their home is able to see what I made. Not necessarily in the sense that it's for you, but in the sense that everyone will see the stuff you made when they enter that house. You know what I mean? And that's more of a compliment, in my opinion, than the actual monetary price or the dollar value we place on it, because that's kind of more of an arbitrary thing. If the number bothers you and you're fixated on the number, at the end of the day, just set a higher number then, because then the higher number you set, the better you'll feel, and you'll be much more comfortable with letting your pieces go for a higher number than selling it for a cheaper price. Third point I want to make, and this is the most important, arguably, is that when you sell your pieces, it can encourage you to do more. Parts of me used to think that by selling my work, again, it was disingenuous to the work that I was creating, and it was almost like giving away a piece of me. It's not that deep, obviously, but I didn't realize that it could actually be a positive experience and a good thing as well. When someone wants to buy your work, a bit of it is like flattery or a compliment or something like that. You start to feel good about yourself because it validates what you just created. So it doesn't matter sometimes if you just sold it for 20 bucks or 100 bucks or 1,000 bucks or whatever. It's nice that someone is willing to pay for what you made. When I made my first print sale maybe like a year ago, I sold it for pretty cheap and much cheaper than I would sell it for now, especially because it was like a limited print, and I don't know why I went the limited route for that. But selling that first print gave me all the encouragement I pretty much needed, because it allowed me to think about my own art, and it validated my art in the sense that, like, wow, someone was willing to pay for this. And since then, I've sold many, many more art prints, but that first sale still has that impact on me because it reminds me, it kind of encouraged me to create more, to put out more, and to also think about what I can make that other people would like as well. And I think that's a big positive outcome of being willing to sell your art, that encouragement. And it's something that I realized that I could do endlessly as well. And it doesn't have to come as a detriment of what I want to create. Sometimes that's all you need as an artist. So hopefully I was able to express these thoughts to you if you're an artist or small artist or whatever, thinking about selling your work and are concerned about if these things might be obstacles or roadblocks for you. If you have any questions, please leave down in the comments below. And obviously subscribe to this channel for more if you're interested in photography, creativity, productivity, all that stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.